Alright. Alright. First, can you guys hear me? You guys can either post in the Discord or do I even have comments set up? I don't know. YouTube changed how they do their streams. Trying to see if I can see where it is. Alright, they can hear me. Am I loud enough? Okay, comments are turned off. How do I fix it? Alright, whatever. It's not important. Oh, that's why. It's because I said it was made for kids. That's funny. Alright, you guys can comment on here or in the Discord. Okay, I guess this is just gonna be super informal. Mostly I'm just gonna like answer questions. I guess I'm not gonna really like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's not gonna be me just up here talking the entire time, but I'll answer questions and um, yeah. But you guys, you guys believe in technical analysis? I know some people just think that it's all fundamentals or you have to actually know the stock. You can't just use technicals to trade or whatever. Um, and I used to believe that, but I actually, I don't know. I use like a combination of both, I guess. Recently, you can't frickin' trade with technicals because people will just sell every 5 to 10 cent pop. So like you need something else to draw people in. Yeah. Wonder how delayed. After refreshing YouTube to get chat. Is it gonna end the stream? Alright, I refreshed it. Oh, I gotcha. Okay, I don't have. Well, too late. I already did. Alright, whatever. We got it set up. Okay. Test. Alright, well, so anyways, Eric wanted me to take a look at Wing. Um, I guess, see what I had to say. Um, but first, let's just kind of start with the indicators I use. I know I've made videos in the past about what indicators I use, but I just use really basic ones. I use VWAP, and this is just an intraday indicator. It won't show up on like the daily or the weekly. It'll show up on the 4 hour. Yeah. Show up on the 1 minute, and I actually use the 1 minute chart probably the most when I'm trading, just because I usually go for like quick in and out. 5 minutes. I used to use strictly the 5 minute. Gosh, What a joke I was. Yeah, I use the VWAP, which is just a strength indicator. Clearly, wing wasn't very strong yesterday. It was in the beginning. And then I used the Bollinger Band, which are pretty good. This is not a good chart. There's like no volume. What had volume yesterday? What did we trade? Back. This is just a jumbled mess. I'm gonna edit. I don't really use those. I just put those in. These are the main ones I use. So I use the Bollinger Bands, and I rarely look at those. I just kind of have them there just to see if stuff bounces off of it. Like right here, it's riding it. It doesn't really dip below that, and once it gets weak, of course, it dips below, indicating it's going to go lower. So that's just kind of what we use that for. And then the ADMA is my favorite, mostly on the daily chart. And this is kind of, I'll go over the setup that I was looking. I know I talked to some people in the Discord about it, but the ADMA here, as you can see, this daily chart just rides it. Hits it, hits it, hits it. So those are like perfect buy here, buy here, buy here, and then just sell the tops. And it's kind of hard to know to sell the top, but clearly here there was a resistance at 1570, 1540. So as soon as it starts showing weakness, you should be out. I mean, I usually try to sell like the strength, and I'll show. Someone was asking me yesterday about AQST, how I got out like right at the top at the perfect time, pretty much. And it's not like I didn't know that it was going to keep going up. That's why you just scale for profits. But I believe right here is where I scaled, like 940. I'd rather sell strength just because you need a bidder to sell. And so if you're trying to sell weakness, on this dip right here, there's probably no bidders until like right down here. So there's no way you're going to sell here, even if that's where the price is at. So I just chose a point where it broke out a little bit, and I figured it touched this top Bollinger Band, so I was going to take profits, at least half. And it did keep going up a little bit, and who knows, it could have just kept going up to 10. But that's why you would scale, and then it actually pulled back. So I kind of nailed the top a little bit, but yeah. Anyways, absolutely beautiful. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I had like so much margin in SPAC, and I couldn't sell, so I had to hold it overnight. I was a little worried. But yeah, these are the three indicators I use, and you can just set these up on Webull. That's what I use is Webull. The ADMA I usually use red just because that's my favorite, so I use that. Bollinger Bands doesn't really matter, and then VWAP. Okay, so I guess you guys want to just give me some questions at all. Any questions? It can be look at a chart. It can be really anything. Top things you look for on the daily. So really, I just look for setups like this, um, and these aren't hard to find. Like you'll start to see if you like study them and learn, and just like sift through charts. Like I just searched through a bunch of random charts that I've never mentioned in the Discord, never bought. I just sift through a bunch of charts on the daily. On the daily. So I just look for stuff like this, ascending triangles. The longer the triangle is, like the longer it takes to form, the bigger the breakout's usually going to be. And this one freaking was just annoying. As you can see here, it just broke support, and sometimes that happens, so it kind of sucks. I think Watt was actually another one. Yeah, this one was forming for a long time, and it just broke down. but you get the idea. So that's kind of one thing I look for. FMCI. So all the SPACs, they follow a pretty similar pattern. This is just kind of a this is just kind of like a this is kind of like a cup and handle. I don't know if that's what I would classify it as. Um, but this is what all SPACs kind of follow. They have that original pop once they announce like who they're merging with, and then they just dip hard. And before I knew that, I was telling everybody to buy up here, and I was like, yeah, it's a long-term hold, it'll be great. And then it just dipped down here, and people are upset for a little bit, which is understandable. But I mean, I was new to the whole thing too, so now that we know, we can capture this profit instead of buying up here and having to wait, because this is a long span, it's like a couple months here. Yeah, so that kind of would not be fun to have your money tied up for months. Um, but the reason I bought FMCI in here, I think I was screaming at everyone to buy in here, or maybe it was up here even. But it came up here, it kind of formed a cup, although, like I said, I wouldn't exactly call this a cup, but this is just consolidation. So that's like kind of like a bull flag, really. And then it just, as soon as it hit the ADMA, it just ran. And Tesla, they're just gorgeous. I mean, I told myself every day, as soon as Tesla got close to touching the daily ADMA, I would buy a bunch of calls, and I just never did it. So 2 days of consolidation, kind of, almost touched the ADMA, rose. 2 more days, almost touched the ADMA, rose. 3 days, that one was a little gain of a day. Touched the ADMA, rose, and then just a day of consolidation, touched the ADMA again, and then pushed new highs. I just kept telling myself every day that I would do that, and then I never did. I'm a dummy. And the same thing happened over here. Rose, consolidated. Once it touched the ADMA, it rose. And a lot of times, sometimes that won't happen. Sometimes it'll touch the ADMA and just dip. But for the most part, you can trust that it's going to touch that and rise. And you can see that in other stocks too. Even pump and dumps will do the same thing. Like, what is that one that we all got caught in? IGC. Yeah, so IGC here, pump, huge pump, another super red day, touches the ADMA, it dips a little bit below it. I actually like to buy a little bit above it, just so you're safe, because sometimes it won't even touch that ADMA, it'll just rise right back up. So, but here it touched the ADMA, and even though there was no reason for a move here, like the news was here, and it was clearly just pumpers, it still rose. You could have captured 160 to 220, 230. I mean, that's a pretty solid move. A mark chart. That's just this is right here. This is where the CEO. Oh no, I'm thinking of a different stock. I hate Mark. This is where I bought, I think, actually. There was one day I alerted it, like 99 or 98. It rose to 108, just instantly plummeted. Yeah, anyways, I guess I didn't really answer your question on the top things I look for. But I guess I just look for cup and handles, ascending triangles, just different setups like that. What I used to look for was like bottom bounces. Just like reversal candles, like Sunworks here. This would be, now this is kind of a combination of like, I guess not fundamentals, but knowing the news. So somewhere back here, I think right here actually, they had a merger, or they announced a merger with PEC, another energy company, and they're actually getting bought out or merging with or something for 67 cents a share. So knowing that in the future, like this is a couple weeks time here, but if you know that that's happening, sometimes the market doesn't know freaking anything. So they'll just sell, sell, sell. So as soon as this got under 60 in the 50s, like that's just an automatic buy. And I missed that. I took this off my watch list. I wasn't even looking at it. But this candle would signal a reversal. Obviously, it doesn't have like a ton of volume, and not all the time is it going to bounce. But for this specific situation, that'd be something you'd want to buy um, for a bounce, just because you know that the company is getting bought out for 67 cents a share anyways. So even the market's likely going to push it up. Would it be, dude? I think these guys make masks, right? They're just gonna bleed. They have no volume. And I guess, wow, A2 touched 90 cents. I remember we were all holding here, waiting for news, waiting for news. It pumped to $2, pumped to $2, pumped to $2, and just not do anything. Here's Brandon Irish's favorite stock. Here. That is so annoying. Yeah, I guess, and this is something else I alerted actually. AEZS. This is just another thing I look for. Um, it's kind of hard to see. Um, this is just oversold. I mean, the RSI, I guess over here it was 44, but that's still pretty low. And the reason I alerted this is because they had, I guess, a data release in here, which apparently I was told was positive, but maybe the market didn't think so, or maybe the market just thought it was, no one cared about it. It doesn't matter. Oh, show us what a cup and handle. Yes. I think I have a picture. Why SPAC didn't go to 14.6. Cup and handle. I have a picture somewhere. So yeah, this is just a clear cup and handle. Price starts up here. Price dips. Got a handle. Breaks the handle breakout. There should be a volume ticker down here, because if it doesn't break out on volume, that's just kind of that's a trap. So it does need to have volume too. You can't just go based off the chart. I guess I'm kind of all over the place. But like I was saying with SPACs, the reason I think SPAC is about to retest highs within a couple weeks is because the same thing happened with FMCI here. It had this previous resistance, and SPACs is so much more clear. Like, this is just super easy to read. Um, this is why I think next Monday is going to be fun, is because this should be the new resistance, or the new support right around 16. Should be the new floor. It just started up here, and SPACs just follow this same pattern. So I think a lot of other ones are going to follow that pattern. FVAC should be, they're about to start theirs, in my opinion. I don't know exactly when their merger is. I need to do more research on them. Um, is JFU. I don't know what's going on with this nonsense. Um, that's just ugly. So they were a new IPO last September, and they went up a little bit, went up a little bit. They've just been nothing but down. And now their RSI is 22. So at some point, you'd think they would have a green day in here. I guess that's a green day, but um, here on the 1 minute, I'll just show why I exited. I mean, there was volume. There was a little bit. I think most of the volume was just pumpers buying it and not being able to get other people to buy it. Um, but here there's just a couple of candles where there's just no volume. So the price just wasn't moving. So I just decided to get out. And it dipped actually to 95. So I actually got stopped out, I think. Yeah. But there was just no point in holding on to this. the price wasn't moving. The only time I would say to hold on to it if the price isn't moving is if it's like consolidating at the VWAP. So this is way under the VWAP. If it's consolidating up here with not much volume, then I'd say you can likely hold on to it. When did they have their run? This would be a perfect. Is this the day they? There's a couple. Oh, it was a long time ago. So yeah, right here. This is like a perfect example. So it's consolidating. It doesn't really have a lot of volume. Like this is pretty low, but it just doesn't dip below that VWAP. Usually, if something's gonna get weak, it's gonna dip and stay below and just keep fading. But this one just holds it, stays, goes up, holds it, stays, go up, holds it. So this would have been a perfect time to buy, just right around here, and just sat on it for the day, and then it just got majorly pumped. You could have made like 300%. That's beside. Okay, go over how to scalp short and long stop. Yes, I will do that. Actually, I can do that. Let's see if we can pull up GTT. GTT. Holy cow, they went up now. Oh, one buy. um, this one I was playing off the chart actually. The chart. That's not. Okay, there we go. GTT. It touched the VWAP here, bounced. It was riding the VWAP or the ADMA. Sorry. Um, this one I'm essentially waiting for news. This news right here. So they're just nearing a sale of their European assets for $2 billion, and their market cap. I have my desktop set up different than my MacBook, so but their market cap is like 450 million, like that. I can't find it. But in my opinion, they should be trading it at least 8 to 10 with that news. Once they finally sell that, so I'm just kind of waiting on that. Okay, I will answer Pete's question and then I'll answer all the other. So for scalping, scalping yesterday was kind of a perfect example, which I didn't actually do much of because I have class, so I don't have like the time to do it. Um, but a good time to exit SPAC was above 16 here. It was showing a lot of strength, and I don't know where my indicator went. What is going on? SPAC touched this top Bollinger Band. It had strength, pulled back a little bit. It obviously went over here and pulled back too. Um, and these SPACs, they follow a similar pattern in the mornings too. They usually have a big pop in the morning, and then right around 10 a.m. my time, they just kind of have their peak. 9 to 10 a.m. my time, which is kind of bad because that's like when I'm the busiest is this time period. So I usually sell before um, and miss it. But here I waited to sell, and then if you were wanting to scalp, I guess an entry would be around VWAP. Um, for a SPAC, I guess lately they haven't been wanting to hold this, so late day they usually dip really hard. It kind of follows the SPY too. Um, but I would say 15 would be a perfect place to buy. It bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. And then if you want to scalp, sell here, re-add, sell here at the VWAP, re-add, and scalp that. It's kind of hard to explain scalping. Another one would just be IGC, like that same one that I mentioned earlier when they. Okay, I'm not gonna use the one here. It's kind of hard to explain scalping. You just have to learn the candles and like I don't. It's easier said than done, I guess. I don't know, or it's easier done than said. Um, there hasn't even been stocks to scalp lately. FMCI, I mean, they just follow the same pattern, except the one day here they don't. Like I said, I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. But yeah, FMCI, they were strong right around, I guess they peaked at like 11 and then dipped. But right around 9, 10, 11 is when these usually peak. And if you learn like a stock's patterns like that, it's really easy. I know Fatty used to just play AMD every day because I followed the same pattern every day. But yeah, um, I will. I guess I need to make a video on how to scalp shorts and long stocks. Shorting, what I look for is just like little pump and dumps, and I can't even think of one right now. So if you give me time, I can figure one out later and make an actual video for it. So you ask, can you go over when you know it's time to exit a trade to either take profits or cut losses? Um, like I said with AQST, I just kind of picked a place. I mean, it's kind of hard to take profits unless you're going to take profits at like a resistance, which I kind of did. It was trading above resistance, and usually when it breaks out, I know lately the breakouts just haven't been as big. So in the back of my mind, I already knew that I was going to take profits relatively soon, just because this has already ran 650. It touched almost 650, ran up to 950 in like 4 days here. So I already knew in the back of my mind that I was going to take profits as soon as it broke like a specific resistance and had a little bit more of a push. So I just kind of picked a place of strength because, like I said, you need bidders there to sell. Um, as for stop losses, um, I need to just stay on IGC apparently. Um, I guess. Oh, this is gonna be a pain. I'll just kind of show it. I do see that one day when it was just consolidating at the view app, I would put your stop loss just a little bit under. And sometimes you got to give it wiggle room. Now this here, that's only 3 cents. Sometimes like this small of a space can be 10 to 15 to 20 cents, which kind of sucks. But um, view app's a strength indicator, and usually if it were to have broken that, that would indicate it's not strong anymore. It's going to come down. Um, so that would be kind of like a good place for a stop loss. Um, another, I haven't actually been using stop losses as much. I just kind of like let myself decide when I want to sell. Um, GTT, this daily. So what I liked here is the ADMA. You could also honestly use this as kind of like a. So say you were to buy a dip here at the ADMA. If it were to keep dipping, just a little bit below that, I'd say set a stop right around there. I mean, you'd be losing about 20 cents here on like a $5 stock, so it's not like you're losing too much there. Um, and then for taking profits, it's hard on like those day trades to know when it's going to be done. Like for SPAC, I'm sure. I mean, I like right here on this dump. It was yesterday, right? Yeah, this is yesterday. Right here, I mean, that's a pretty solid dump. It touched 1593 and dumped all the way to 1560. That's a 30-cent move. I guess it's only 2%, but as long as this is holding this on the 1 minute, I'd say you're fine. And when I mean sell strength, if you scale up here, which I did scale above 16, as soon as it starts dipping here, you should automatically be taking profits right here. Um, as soon as it like dips under that with volume here, that's when I would just be fully out. So if you had entry down here, you're still looking at solid gains. And then you've already locked profits in up here too. So you're getting those profits, and then you're locking these profits. And then if you honestly want to, you can keep a stop at your entry. The sucky thing here is that would have gotten hit later before it continued going back up. So I would just say, usually I do a stop loss at entry. Like for workhorse, that worked. I took profits at 23.80, I think it was, a couple days ago. Gosh, my charts are just. But yeah, I took profits at 23.80, and then it never touched my entry again. We got literally the perfect entry, I think. It like dipped to. It was the day it dipped down here, I think. But we got the perfect entry, and then we took profits at 23.80, and then had a stop loss at our entry, and then it just kept going up. And then I think I sold this day that it was starting to move in after hours. I guess I kind of just need to make a video for that too. But that's kind of how I determine a stop loss too. But also for stop losses, I don't like to lose more than like 5 to 10%. And I guess it just kind of depends on how much money you're trading with. Because if you're trading with like 10 grand per trade, 10% is 1,000 bucks, so that kind of sucks to lose. But also sometimes you got to give stuff wiggle room, buy the dips, stuff like that. And another thing I'll do is, honestly, if I see like Cam's Room pumping something, like if I see Richie post something, if you wait about 5 to 10 minutes after he posts, it'll usually have a pump. Like he'll post and you'll hear it on the scanner and it'll pump. And then if you just wait a little bit, you'll get a better entry than him, likely. And then he'll just continue to pump it throughout the day. So that's the kind of thing I look for too. Don't bite as soon as you post. Like, don't think you're gonna miss out or something like that, because you will not. And you have to combine kind of those pumps with like your own charting analysis and just seeing, is it actually strong, or is this gonna end up not working out for him. My coffee's cold now. Last question. What's your favorite SPAC? Well, I like FMCI. They're up there. I don't know a lot about Tattooed Chef, but Turtle, I'll shout out him on Dr. He only trades special acquisition, whatever they're called. So I would say, if you guys want to follow this guy, he only trades SPACs. He doesn't post a 2-lot, so you're not gonna see like a bunch of just garbage on StockTwits. His favorite is FMCI, and he actually posts all of his price targets on here for him. And he's a really good guy. He sells like merch and stuff, and all the profits go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. His target for FMCI is 150, Shell 136, SPAC 122. These are all in like a year's time. His favorite's actually not my favorite, I guess. My favorite's FVAC, and that's just from reading a few articles on them. They just mine the materials that like go into electric vehicles, and you can get, so this is, I mean, you're kind of buying like that whole electric vehicle angle, as well as I guess just getting a solid resources company. I know Trump, there was something going on a month or two ago with like resources, stuff like that. So I mean, if this gets like government funding and they merge, I mean, I just think in a couple of years this could be like a pretty huge company. And that's about the extent of my knowledge on it. I don't do like, I don't go through companies and like study for hours. I don't think you have to trade successfully, to be honest. I think I mean, that's why I wake up right before the opening bell, and then I trade, and then after hours I used to trade some, um, but I just don't as much because I just don't think you need to be successful. I mean, you can use charts, and then you can use what you already know about the companies. Um, and say a news comes out like a couple weeks ago that you know is going to affect the future. I mean, just keep that in the back of your mind, or if you need to write it down, write it down. An example of that would just be, um, I mean, I guess an example would be Kirk, kind of. Um, but this was just earnings. I mean, they had earnings here, so you knew there was going to be a slight run up, and they had already ran up huge, and then people just kept trying to buy the dip. So they had their little run up, and sometimes the price will run up to the actual earnings date. Sometimes it'll sell off a day or two before. It just kind of depends. Um, but a lot of times, just try to like remember news from the past, and know how that's gonna affect the near-term future, I guess. And like I said, if you need to write it down, write it down. But sometimes PRs are gonna, I guess, reveal what's also gonna happen in the future, I guess. Or like, I mean, if something gets announced in a PR that like says there's gonna be an announcement on this date, because a lot of times the market won't even look at those PRs to know that date. So if you, I mean, and that's why I post on StockTwits too. Like once I alert it, because like the market just doesn't know sometimes. So until they're made aware, they don't know that they need to buy it. So it's just kind of funny. ATIF was a pump and dump. I know I'm going through these really slow, and I'm babbling on this pump and dump right here. Do they have news? Because usually, I guess that should be a video too, kind of finding what the pump and dump news is. Was them gaining compliance the news? Oh no. Actually, oh no, this is when they gained compliance. The 25th. It doesn't look like they had anything. Maybe this. Anyways, um, I can probably find news that was a joke. This IGC news was a joke. Justin King. Yeah, I am gonna laugh at you, buddy. You know why I'm gonna laugh at you? Here's why I'm gonna laugh at you. What's this? A reverse split. Alright, let's go back. Alright, a reverse split. Oh, let's go back. Oh, where'd that go? Where'd that go? Oh, I need to zoom. Let me try this again. Actually, I'll just Google it. I just try to avoid companies like these. This is just an example of companies I usually try to avoid unless you're scalping them. Um, just companies with high reverse split history. The only anomaly, they've had 4 reverse splits. That's terrible. So if you own them if you had bought when they first went public, um, you would have a total return of negative 100%. So essentially, Justin, if you continue holding them, your investment will turn to 0. So that's why I'm not a big fan of those companies. But like I said, the only anomaly would be like Fuel Cell. I know they've had a lot of reverse splits in their history, but right around here they actually got a new CEO, I believe, and he's started to turn the company around a little bit. So actually, I've started to look at this company more and like it. I think I actually wrote it up from down here, or I think I bought it in here somewhere and wrote it up. I can't quite remember. That was a long time ago. couple years, HOFV will be huge. It will, maybe. Turtles PT on HOFV is $22, $20, I think, by next year. He said it's the farthest one of his specs has to go to make it. So I guess I don't know if this has been helpful for you guys or not, or if you have more questions. A lot of the stuff I just need to make like a video for. Because I guess I'm not as prepared. I just figured this would be super informal, and I could just talk and go over. Keep tabs on SEC files. I used to. I used to read through filings a lot. The only ones I really look for are just like Form 4s. And on StockTwits, there's bots that will actually search for those Form 4s for you. And if you want to follow them, they'll post like the important forms. Because a lot of the forms, they're not really that important. Um, yeah, you can follow like bots on StockTwits that will show you the different forms, like Form 4s, SC13Gs or something like that. Those are, I think those are like when a company or someone has stake in like more than 8 or 10% of the company, something like that. I don't know. Forms, they're important. Like SPAC, they had a form, which is why they ran up in after hours here. Um, it was pertaining to their merger, so it kind of excited buyers. Um, bad forms would be offering forms, uh, and I can't remember what those are. But if you just Google them, um, you don't want to have a proposed offering, or that'll scare buyers, and then people will post on StockTwits and just make people more scared. Um, or like even previous offerings. Like if there's an SEC filing stating a previous offering, that'll just scare buyers for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, the offering was already done and out of there. Um, and then 8Ks are financial reports, um, which are a little important, but they usually post those publicly anyways. So it just kind of depends. I don't really read through filings as much either. Like I said, I used to, but the main one I just look for is like Form 4s. Those are insider buys. Like if a CEO is buying shares or a CFO is buying a lot of shares, um, that's kind of what I look for. Like Sava, and I'll just look at this chart. I think they have a presentation on Monday, so they're probably going to dump on Monday. It'll probably be a good short come Monday. But right in here, the Sava CEO actually bought shares. Where did my 8 EMA go now? Right in here, the CEO bought like a million shares or something like that, and then up here she actually bought more, so it just kept pushing up. I don't think they had any news within this period. It was just the insiders buying shares, um, and a lot of times it's not going to get pumped up this much, but um, when an insider does buy shares, it's usually a big thing. NMTR right here, uh, this day they bought shares, got pumped a little bit, and then pumped up again here to 110, which was pretty crazy. And that was literally just from insiders like the CEO buying shares. So, and you could have known that from either A, reading the filing, or right here they had news. But if you would have read the filing, you would have gotten the news way before they got a hold of it. Uh, any other questions? My coffee's cold. Coffee is Oh, how do I find stocks? Okay, that's a good idea. I want you guys to all use this, right? Because we pay for it, so you might as well use it. Well, Chuck pays for it, and I pay him for it. Live Market Scanner. Literally, it's as easy as just clicking. Oh, and now I'm talking. But it's just as easy as joining this room right here. Either Johnny5 or Chuck G will be in here. And we live stream a stock scanner that will basically scan for momentum. Uh, so uh, SPAC, I'm assuming after hours these pumps were probably on the scanner. Like you would have heard the bot would have said SPAC, SPAQ, and then I know that some of these were. So it'll just find the volume spikes, and it'll share those. So like if say the scanner says something right here, it'll tell you hey, go look at this stock, it's moving up. Uh, and that'll give you an idea of kind of different stocks to look for. And then that will also help you like catch the bottom on stocks sometimes too. Like if a stock dumps, it'll also do dumping volume. These wouldn't have made the scanner, but if a stock like really dumps, um, I think JFU actually made it for dumping yesterday. I mean, yeah, this right here, I'm pretty sure this made the scanner. I can't remember. I don't remember hearing it, but I also might not have been paying much attention to it. But this right here would have made the scanner, and usually stuff's gonna bounce. Like, I mean, that's a 20% drop in just less than 1 minute on 280,000 volume, which isn't much at all. So clearly that was just someone shorting, someone selling stupidly, or I don't know. That actually doesn't even make any sense to sell off that much on that little volume. But the scanner will just kind of look for that, and then there's a news scanner in here too, um, and a guy, I don't know. We pay for someone. He just will. He'll find different news, and you'll get news like milliseconds after it's released for just random stocks, and he'll also announce different stocks that are moving. So, uh, did you sell your long-term stocks for the election? I guess that kind of depends on who's gonna get elected. I mean, I guess it depends what long-term stocks you're in, because not all of them are gonna be affected. Um, I guess what long-term stocks are you in? I know you're in CCL. Right? CCL I wouldn't sell, because come November they should be back. In my opinion, they should be back up here, because cruises should be fully back by then, I would think, or at least close. I mean, I think CCL should already be back up here. I don't care that they're not cruising. They have plenty of cash. They have like billions of dollars in cash. They could literally keep this going out until next year. But as for the other ones, it just kind of depends. I know the last couple weeks in October are probably going to be ugly. Um, but in your long-term account, you're not really caring about a couple weeks, what's going to happen in a couple weeks. You're caring about what's going to happen in 10 to 15 years if you're treating it like a true long-term portfolio. So I would say you might as well just hold it. I mean, unless you're gonna try to like get a better 5 to 10% like entry on something. I mean, but at that, I guess, I guess that could technically be like a year worth of gains, but not this year because this year's been crazy. I don't know if I'd say sell. I don't know if it'd be worth it to sell, but I would also say it depends on what you own. All right, if no one else has any more questions, this probably was not that helpful to anyone, but I just kind of wanted to go over some stuff, answer questions, um, like on a live stream instead of having to answer it. Um, oh, another question. As far as volume goes, what you look for, good versus bad volume, low versus high. Um, so like, I guess for volume, I don't like to see candles like this. Like this is the 1 minute chart. I don't like to see candles like this. This candle has 1000 volume, 351, 520, 1, 1000, 1000, 500. Like the price just isn't moving. I don't like to see different candles like that. I'd much rather see like I want to see all these. I want to see volume on like every candle. And that's usually for just day trading. Like you can find stocks that just don't have a lot of volume. CMLS, they're just a low volume stock. I mean, the day they pushed to 928, they had 500,000 volume, and they pushed from 750 to 920 on that much volume. And then this day they only had 500,000, and they were up 30%. So it just kind of depends on each stock. And this stock, I believe, I wish I could see their float. Um, but I think they have like a 500,000 float or 400,000 float, which is the amount of shares that are traded. So they actually went through their whole float. Um, and then other stocks that have like say a 500,000 float or like tops, they have like a huge float. Um, they're gonna need more volume to move also. So like a 50 million volume day here, 20 million. Their float's larger, so they're gonna need more volume to like move up or down. Um, so that's kind of how you compare it, and you can actually look up the float in the Discord too. Um, if you just do exclamation point float and then whatever ticker you're looking for, a bot will tell you. And then for volume on Webull, I just look at the buys and sells here, kind of, and then I'll look at the individual candles as well. But if there's like a lot of buys coming in or a lot of sells coming in over here, I mean that's just what you want to see. You just want to see that volume coming through. So it just kind of depends. That one's just kind of a hard one to explain too. Oh, you just followed it. SP, CCL. I knew you had SUK. SUK is not a stock. Oh, Carnival. Is it the same thing? Oh, DVY for dividend. Nice. For long term right now, I don't know if I'd be in. I don't think I'd be in. Well, I guess what you're in is fine, but I guess like if you're looking at tech right now, I still think you should wait. Like Apple, you can probably buy under 100 still later, like in October/November. Um, Tesla, I think now's getting about time to buy Tesla. Elon just tweeted on, or he tweeted yesterday. He said lots of big announcements coming the 22nd for Battery Day. So I think this week is actually probably the week to start buying. Um, and I think Monday might actually be a pretty solid day. So we should have taken some lottos on that. That's okay. Microsoft. I had calls for Microsoft. I still have November calls, October. I can't remember what I bought. Or maybe it was December. Microsoft is good. They have their new Xbox coming out soon. And it's gonna be sick. And it should be finding support here. This should have been a area of support. You can draw that with the lines if you want, or you can just clearly see that this was an area of support. So, and I actually like this candle. I like the volume here. So we should be due for a bounce here soon, hopefully. And then a run up to their Xbox release, not reveal. They've already revealed it. Um, but yeah, Microsoft looks good. But anyway, this actually gave me a lot of ideas for videos. So if it wasn't helpful to you guys, it was helpful to me to give me ideas for YouTube videos in the future. Um, and those will be much more like easier to follow, and I won't just be babbling on. Yes. Um, but I hope this was worth your 61 minutes. I guess I didn't really go over too many setups, but I hope I kind of helped a little bit. And like I said, I'll make more videos. And and if you guys ever have any other questions, you guys can just message me on Discord or whatever. Brandon Irish, I told him to have questions, and he hasn't asked a single one. So I guess I'll just close it out. Um, Basically, in the market, I just try to look for just like um, just ways to outthink the market. Um, and I guess I don't even have any examples of that here, but sorry, I just woke up like 2 hours ago. um, all right, I'll just close it out, and then if you guys have any video ideas or anything, just message me on Discord, and then I can help. Or if you have any other questions, message me on Discord, and I'll get back to you. But I will hopefully not today, not this week, but maybe next weekend or the next. I'll have time to make more YouTube videos, and those should be easier to follow as well. So